Hello, everybody. Structures, episode number 6. That's where we're at. I am Thad in Kentucky, and my guest is Marcel in Germany. How you doing, Marcel?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure, man. If you don't know, uh, people listening, if you don't read the notes, Marcel made the music for the show. So that's really cool. I appreciate you doing that, man. And it's special that you particularly do it for me. So thank you very much for that.
I was I was really, really honored when you asked me to, so I couldn't say no.
Yeah, I thought you would do it, but I'm so happy you did. Uh, Let me start off. I know you wanted to share a couple things about some pictures. Go ahead and do that if you want while we got them pulled up together.
Yeah, then I would start with the picture of the fox skull that basically got the cover of my album Memento Mori, because this fox skull just also inspired the name of the project, Noctem Vulpes. Um, the skull we found one day in the woods. We originally thought it was cool Halloween decoration,
Yeah.
and now it turned out to be basically the logo for my music project. And like I said, it inspired Noctem Vulpes because, as far as I know, Noctem Vulpes is Latin for night fox, fox of night. I'm not completely sure. I have no clue about Latin. That's what Google said.
Well, you know as much as
So
I do, probably more about Latin. I love how a
I
found
just,
object became what it is today for you.
yeah, exactly. Um, and it was for years. I don't know if you remember the outline I had for years on my Instagram
I do.
as the profile picture, and that was basically the outline of the fox skull. So it really shaped the aesthetic of my music. That little thing we stumbled upon random going through the woods.
Yeah. It's like the little magical moments, you know? I love stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I really wanted to share it, especially this picture, because it really shaped a lot of my world recently.
In what way?
With the music
Oh,
in everything, and because music is such a huge part for me, and this little thing shaping my music and shaping the way I put my music out there, basically, it's just, yeah,
yeah.
like you said, these random little encounters that shape
Yeah.
the world in a huge way.
Yeah. It's like they become part of the life, part of the journey that you're on.
Yeah, exactly. And by being part of the journey, I think I'm going to talk about the picture with the full moon now,
Oh, yeah.
because that's actually a picture I'm pretty sure you took.
Yeah,
And
I think I did, yeah.
for me, just besides it being a moon and also the moon shaping a lot of the aesthetics of Noctem Vulpes, for me, it also shows our friendship, you know,
Yeah.
and you being such a huge way and part of my sound journey so far, because we met very early when I started to post on Instagram, and you reaching out to me back years ago then, um, I wouldn't never have done this. I was way too yeah, I had way too low self-esteem to reach out to anybody, and you just reached out to me and we started chatting, and yeah, that also shaped a lot of my journey and my music until today. Not just my music, you also feels like you're a big part of my life in general.
Yeah,
But
I agree, man.
yeah, even though we never met in person, which is a shame, I think, but Germany and USA, it's pretty far
Yeah,
away.
across the pond.
Yeah.
We can make it happen one day, though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And yeah, just
Um,
to reflect on that train of thought there. Yeah, I I'm glad that you know I was there for you like that. But it was funny because you told me about this later. But at the time when I first started talking to you, I had no idea. I thought I heard your sounds and I was like, well, this guy's amazing. And I figured you probably talked to all kinds of people because you're so talented. I had no idea. I just
uh,
started talking to you. And
First of all, thank you.
thank you, man, for sharing, for putting your stuff out there. If you didn't, I would never know you, you know? And, uh,
Yeah.
and that's the cool thing about shared interest is like, whatever you're into, if you find that commonality between people to break the ice and talk about, but then you get to meet and get to know amazing people, and that's what it's really about. You know, the people that's where it all comes from. So,
Oh yeah.
so I'm just super glad that uh, you know, reciprocated that chatting and friendship with me, and it's right, man. It's like you're a soul brother on a sound journey. You know, I didn't realize how um, uh, similar in places, in certain ways, that our musical journey was, or our sound journey when we first met. You know, uh, you have a
Yeah.
lot more playing time and experience than I do, but uh, the things we were into and getting excited about and new things we were trying, we didn't really plan it, but we'd touch base off and on and be like, oh shit, I'm into getting into that too, you know, and it was it's just a really cool experience to share that, and also how we bounce creative ideas off each other. And I just wanted to uh, add to what you're saying, to let people know that you can actually um, meet some really great people online if you you know, just be authentic and trust the universe, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think a part of why we have such a similar journey and discovering the things basically at the same time is I've been playing guitar for years. I think I started when I was 13 or 14 years old, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I always played rock music. I actually started with playing metal, like death metal and speed metal and all that. Then I got into more calmer territory with rock music, especially punk and grunge was something that I really, really enjoyed. And also grunge still shaping my music today,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you look at the Fender Jaguar I just
Oh yeah.
bought recently. And that's because of Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, and
I think
that's a
I,
shared love too. And you know, old hero, Kurt Cobain.
oh yeah, I think I sent you the picture of a gig I had when I was, I don't know, 19 or 20 years old. This was with a cover band, and you see my first Jaguar. This was a Squire Jaguar that I bought, very cheap, and I put in the humbuckers myself. It didn't have a whammy bar, so I put a whammy bar on it now all.
Yeah,
And but it really had to be the Sunburst Jaguar
yeah,
because oh my God, Kurt Cobain had one,
yeah,
and I researched the humbuckers that Kurt Cobain used, like the Super Distortion, and I put that in, and it had to be that pickup because I wanted that sound, you know.
yeah, yeah. That's so cool.
And yeah, but my point was, yeah, and only later I got into the ambient music, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's when I
And
found you actually, and I remember. I just want to add something funny. Like, I remember when I found your page. I don't know if it was because of the hashtag or I saw it on yours first, but dark ambient, and I was like, wait a minute, dark ambient. That sounds like something I'm into, and yeah, it was.
yeah, it was something that I read somewhere, and I thought, okay, this describes my music a little bit. Um, I always do some weird research and everything. I'm not particular such a genre guy like, oh my God, this
Oh,
has
me
this and
neither.
this sample, so
Yeah,
it's this and that genre.
and I wouldn't know if
But
dark ambient was the actual genre or not. Just the descriptive idea. I was like, okay, that made sense to me.
at first, I had no clue myself when I was using it. But then I started to Google it someday and found out that ambient is basically a subgenre of industrial music, which I thought is really, really interesting because before I got into ambient music, I got really into industrial music, and German industrial band still to this day is my favorite band, you know?
Yeah,
And then I just, mm, for me, I just mixed the ambient music that I heard from other people that I really enjoyed with the dark sounds I had in my mind, and basically I got there what people did in the 80s already. I thought it's really interesting, and also weird, but also again this connection, and now not over the pond a connection, but through time a connection. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe you get what I mean.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. It's almost like it. It made me think of getting your DNA results. Like
Yeah,
a DNA. It's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like, this is where I'm from, or it connects to the past. That's what I thought of when
yeah,
you
exactly.
explained that. Yeah, that's pretty cool, and I didn't know that either. I didn't never look it up, but yeah. That
Yeah,
and
that's
go ahead, please.
yeah, that's just the weird stuff I Google when I'm bored at, I don't know, having a break at work, and I'm alone at work, so I'm starting to Google stuff like that.
Yeah,
So and because it was so interesting to me, it really got into my mind. Oh my God, it's basically an industrial subgenre.
yeah. And I remember, well, around the same era that I was into Nirvana, I listened to a lot of Nine Inch Nails too.
Yeah,
So that's interesting, and so you're showing me a connection too that I didn't even realize either with that idea. It's just someone's idea. Someone made it. The first person, dark ambient. Hashtag. Shout out. Give me a call. You can be on the show. I'm just kidding.
yeah. Um, okay, what else did I send? Oh yeah,
I got some
I have a good
clippers.
picture.
Yeah.
Um, the I'm gonna go with the profile picture
Oh
of
yeah.
me.
That's a
Um,
good picture, and I know you've got a good photographer too.
yeah, thank you. My wife took that picture. She took every picture, not every picture I put on Instagram, but every album cover was a photo she took, and she worked on it. And like this profile picture, she took it, and I would never, never had the guts to do that if you wouldn't have started to put yourself more out there with showing your face and all. Before that, I never showed myself because I was so subconscious and thought, oh my God, there's going to be negative ways. But it's just like one person starts doing it and you see, okay, wait a minute, there's no negative side effects, so I can jump on board of that,
Absolutely. Yeah.
you know?
Absolutely.
And that's
Yeah.
also a way you shaped my journey because I'm now feel okay with sharing more of myself.
Yeah, I found the same thing, and I'm really touched that I was able to uh, do something that you saw as a benefit to you. So that's really cool,
Yeah,
and to see, you know,
yeah,
no one has to do it or has to not do it. It's all just whatever. But to see something that made you think I can do that too, man, and that's really cool. But you've done that for me a lot too with your sound design, and you know, you were way ahead of me in the curve with owning and using effects pedals and things like that. And I would just be like, wow, he's doing that with this. That is so cool, you know. So it goes both ways. There's definitely a lot of inspiration that I've got from you sharing your art. So thanks, man.
yeah. I still I feel like I have to thank you more because you are such a huge part for me, especially also creative. But I still have also a funny story behind this photo.
Okay.
Um, you, I'm fascinated you can see it on this photo, but I was really, really sick when we took that picture. Actually, um, I had this in December. I had this interview, not like we're having now, only per email. I got sent a few questions, so they wanted to put an article about me on their blog,
Oh yeah.
and they also wanted a photo of me. And we've never done a professional, you know,
Yeah.
photo shoot before for of me for Noctem Vulpes. And we were like, okay, let's do it then. And the time that we said we're gonna take the picture, I got sick.
Oh no.
Um, and we were like, okay, we're on we're on time. We still have to do it, and I'm amazed that this picture turned out this well.
Wow.
Um, Even though I was sick, I was laying in bed the 2 days before, only in bed, nothing else, and it was all constantly while taking the pictures where this is from
Yeah.
was like, open your eyes a bit more. You look tired. You look so tired. You
Yeah.
look like you're falling asleep right now.
Because I am
At
tired.
that moment, yeah, I was super tired at the moment, and I was like, oh my God, can we just, we have a good picture, I'm sure of it. But, but I'm glad we stuck with it and we got
Yeah.
this picture, and I really like it. I'm not just using it because it was part of this interview, but also because I think it's a good picture.
Yeah. It is.
Um,
I remember when you first shared it, and I told you I liked it. Thought it
yeah,
was great, and knowing you personally, it was also exciting to see you take that step, and put your face on there. And we spoke of this a little bit earlier before we're recording, but that's a good thing. You want to talk about that, like, because we can both talk about that basically recent experience of you know putting yourself more visibly online.
oh yeah. Um, I just feel like being more visible online. It's when you put yourself out there, you're getting a bit more vulnerable, and I was always a bit afraid to do it.
Yeah. Well, me too.
Um,
I was very nervous first doing it.
yeah, me too. Super nervous before that. Even though I saw you doing it, and I was like, okay, that's cool. And there's no negative reaction, and that's something I was afraid of. Like, oh my God, I don't know, like, oh God, such an ugly person who can make that kind of music. He can't do good music because he looks like shit. And that
Oh,
was what I was afraid of.
yeah.
Even though I know it's basically a bit crazy, and I know I'm a bit crazy sometimes.
It's just our
Um,
brains.
yeah,
It's just our
and
brains.
but because I feel like the ambient community in general on Instagram is so wholesome. There was no negative backlash. I got actually positive things back.
Yeah.
Not just from you, but also from other people. They were like, "Oh my God, so cool that you put yourself out there more. Um, it's so cool to see you." So basically, if anybody is listening and making music, posting on Instagram, and they're afraid to show themselves, do it. It's worth it.
I agree.
People will
Yeah.
people will recognize you. You'll feel more connected, like more of a part of a community, and it really, really is worth it, in my opinion.
I'm glad you said that because I've there's been some guests on the show that have they have, and I have talked from different angles on community, whether it be local or online, and I think the key is like get in where you fit in. Like if you can't find, if you don't have time or schedule, or can't, if there's nothing going on local, then you can find like-minded people online and do it that way. And
Oh yeah,
I like that you mentioned that community aspect because you didn't take a headshot from just thinking commercially, even though it was requested by the interview. Am I right? You just was like, okay, here's this thing we're doing, but
yeah.
but then you saw the benefit of it in the community sense, which is what I love. Like you said, I've had really good experiences with the people I've met, and maybe that's not the
Oh
same
yeah.
for everyone, but maybe it has something to do with the type of people. I don't know. I don't know how it works. If I just think good, so
Um,
I just find good, or if it is just like everyone in this community is pretty wholesome, like you said. I don't know, but it's been a good experience for me.
yeah, that's my experience too. That especially the community we're in, and I think we already talked about that we discovered the same people basically without talking about it, and then a year later, oh my God, you know him too. Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah,
it's just this wholesome experience. And I already told you earlier when we talked, but I think it's something I can explain now again, especially in this community setup. Um, the interview with Brian Eno,
yeah,
I saw earlier, where he told about the word seniors. I thought it was amazing. He was like, okay, this person, we consider him a genius, but with the word genius, we detach him from the community. But all of these people, he mentioned Picasso as an example in this interview. All of these people are a part of the scene, and they grow together, and yeah, for us, it's our connected sound journey. For Picasso, it was a painting journey,
yeah,
but they influenced each other. And without these people, without this community, Pablo Picasso wouldn't have been who he was.
yeah. That's
So
a beautiful,
basically,
yeah, relation. Yeah,
yeah, you can be the most talented person ever, but it's so much better to talk with other people and be creative together and just let the mind juices flow. You know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely. I agree, and I think that's um, probably that thought shared by a lot of people listening too, because it seems like um, it's like that creative energy. It just gets stirred up, and that's what I see a lot of. I see a lot of positive comments, and I have a lot of positive chats with people, and sometimes, like you mentioned, and oh, you know him too. Like sometimes someone's name will come up. I could be talking to person A and be like, hey, did you see person B's new thing he's doing? Because you get to know people, and it just keeps that creative current going.
Yeah,
It's harder to hit a dry spell when there's movement in that field.
absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, like you said, it's not just us that I had this great experience with, but because of you, I started to also chat with other people. that's something I never did before, but because of you, I started to do it, and it's yeah, because of you, I had all these amazing conversations with all these people. Also, someone we were always texting in English, because we had no clue. And one day he was like, "Yeah, I'm from Germany, Black Forest," and I was like, "Okay,
Now we can really
cool,
talk.
good
Yeah.
to know." Yeah, you know, um, which is because we both of us being a part of this international community and all, we just thought, okay, international community, let's go in English.
Yeah.
And turns out we're both Germans. I mean,
That's
we
funny.
never met. We never met in person because it's still a big drive for us.
Yeah.
But I thought it's still amazing and funny.
That is still really cool. Yeah. I've met a couple of people online that aren't too far from me too, and it's always wild when you're like, oh my gosh, of all the places in the whole world, you're right there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Finding someone who is basically near you, has a few similar experiences because of the place where you live,
Yeah.
being into the same stuff and all. It's like, wow, that's just crazy. That's insane.
And some people you meet, they might be just a friendly person in passing, and you don't talk to them much, but it's still brings a certain charm to life. I think when you get a little glimpse like that, oh, there's someone kind of doing it their way, the same kind of thing their way over there, and like the
Y-
just another
Yeah.
ring of the vibration.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm also always fascinated with is not just seeing that people have their own ways and doing it on their in their way, but when it turns out that people do it on their own way, but it's the same results you both get. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I
I'm
like
I'm
the
super
same kind of
fascinated.
mood or the same kind of vibe, I guess.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing, just with different approaches, and then you realize, hey, we're at the same goal together. Isn't that kind of awesome? Even though you go from there, I go from there, and
Yeah. Yeah.
all it's all in the same path. It's all in the same direction, even though it started on a whole. I think it's just humans are fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I'm super fascinated with the connection and the weaving of the sound journey and the life journey, and because it's just so magical that the network of the way your mind, body, spirit all starts working together, and then working with the energy of others when you collaborate or communicate, and it's just amazing to see where that life energy flows and what comes of it, and so that's why I love sharing this with everyone. But Marcel, like, man, when I first kind of found this ambient and related stuff, you were the first guy I talked to. So, and it's so cool that we got to be close, like soul brothers on a sound journey, uh, and shared through it all. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this a whole community aspect, and this connection between all of this and having these similar journeys. Wasn't this part of your inspiration for structures as a whole?
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, I didn't really have a big full plan when I started the structures page. I didn't even know it was going to be this podcast, the Instagram page. Yeah,
Yeah.
I lost my older account. Some of you know, is Circadian Device. So I had to start a new one, and I was when I did Circadian Device, it was a time in my life where I was reshaping my world from the inside out. I was looking deep, making changes, and trying to grow and heal and just evolve into the best version of myself I could be, which is now it's an everyday goal, And every now and then I take a day off, but it's a goal that I try to do every day.
Yeah.
So Circadian Device was inspired by that because it's like a circadian, like a daily a device, like a function or a ritual, like a day by day approach,
Oh
you know. And then but by the time I lost that, I had found the community, so I started a new page, Structures, representing the network and connectedness of us all, So yeah, I'm glad you remembered that. That's cool. And then it morphed into the becoming this, whatever this is, podcast, show, community, whatever, wherever it's going. All I'm doing is just like kind of surfing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And seeing where the wave goes. Yeah, but I'm enjoying it, and it's definitely become Structures is more about a community project now. It's not really. I don't call myself Structures. I mean, I may say it, I guess, but Structures is the show. Speaking of which, Anthropolydrone, if you're listening, is or if you're not listening, I'm still Anthropolydrone, right? That's where I'm going to put my music now, and I'll put a link in the caption because I think I forgot to say that anywhere else except I messaged a few friends. But so Anthropolydrone will be my sound, my stuff, and Structures is just the show. So mid-show break, news update. All right, back to you, Marcel.
Hey, it's also important to, put yourself out there again when you use Structures as this show, as this podcast, and so then people can also hear your music. For me, it's always like when I listen to things like that, I always want to feel this, let's say, pseudo connection to the person that's doing it, and I would love. When I was listening to your podcast without knowing you, I would love to get to know you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And that's why I think it's still important as a mid-interview break to just be like, hey, by the way, this is also my music.
Yeah. Do you need a job as a producer, podcast producer?
Oh God!
No, I'm just kidding.
Think I would be very, very terrible at that.
I know that's not on your agenda right now. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm still bad at promoting my stuff. I feel like so.
Now I think you're doing great, but I have a very limited perspective on the whole thing. But I see how you do kind of recurring logo and theme on a lot of your reels, I guess, or posts. So you have it's like when you see it, you don't even have to hear it. You could hear it or you could see it, one or the other, and it's you, And
thank you.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with deviating and doing new things, but like it also for ease of production, if you will, like making it, I'm sure it helps the flow. Like, okay, I got my little clip and slap this on there and got that, and I've seen people do that, and I was trying to copy it too and see if it helped me, and I like it on the podcast, with kind of having the video, where your music, the opening scene with the skull. That's your music and my photograph. That was speaking of community, that was the first photograph I took with a camera that a good friend gave me. It's her older one. She upgraded and gave me that camera. So, love you, Lindsay. Thank you for that. How cool is that?
I think that's a really, really cool picture, by the way. I
That,
thought it really I felt like it fits you.
yeah,
You know, and like you already said at one point while talking, authenticity is so important, especially when you put yourself out there. There's so many people who try to fake their way through, but I feel like there's never really something behind that. You know what I mean?
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I
So
think
for
that's
me
another
personally,
reason we connect. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
um, oh, I forgot where I was. Sorry.
My fault. I was just saying that it's something we connect on, just being real with each other, and that just helped
Yeah.
our relationship. You know, right
Oh
out the
yeah.
gate. You know, like there's no time at all. You know, just felt like you were family to me, man. You know.
Yeah. Same. Um, I think Kurt Cobain had a quote like, "It's a waste of yourself when you try to fake being someone else." I don't know the exact words, but I read something like that credited to Kurt Cobain at one point, when we already discussed this
Yeah.
whole influence on him,
Yeah.
on of him on me, and you know, I think it's something I read when I was like 16 years old, and it stuck with me. I'm 31 years old now, so 15 years of my life, this quote stuck with me. It, I think it says a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And that's interesting. I didn't know that quote, uh, but I tell people sometimes that, um, how do I say it? Like, oh, I say, you know why you're you? Because no one else could be. It's kind of along
Yeah.
those same lines, you know. Like everyone is who
Oh,
they
exactly.
are
Yeah.
because that's who they are. You know.
Yeah.
It's that just.
And yeah, sorry.
No, I'm done.
um,
I
I
love this
think,
chill episode, man. I feel like I'm just hanging out on the couch or on the porch, just talking to you. You know.
yeah, same. Um, but but I also think that's again this authenticity, this natural flow just between us, this chill and relaxed vibes. I don't know if anyone is going to really listen to it or be like, "Oh my God, 10 minutes in, and the this
Yeah.
idiot is going on my nerves with the
Yeah, I
way he
know.
talks."
But you know what?
I don't know,
I don't know,
but
and in the bigger scheme of things, I don't care because you and I, this is our special episode, you know, and and we'll
absolutely,
do it
yeah,
again in the future as well. So this is our first one together. So if it's boring, if they tuned out, that's fine. I'm still tuned in, brother.
that's good.
Tell me
Well, we
about your. Were you gonna say something? I was gonna ask about your pets.
I wasn't saying something important, and sorry, I already again forgot it. I don't know if I ever told anyone on Instagram that I'm very in my private life. I'm actually very secretive about it. I have ADHD, so if this is going to be like, oh my God, where is he going with all he's saying? That's my ADHD going.
I'm sure people can relate or understand. I'm not worried about it, and you shouldn't be either.
Yeah. Um. All right, the pets. So let's start with the creepy crawly one.
Oh yeah,
That Sally is her name.
Sally.
Yeah, I got that name from you know, Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
There's this character called Sally, and I thought the stripes on her legs look kind of like a skeleton, so I wanted to go in that direction. I thought, okay, Sally could be a cool name.
Yeah, I like it, and those are really nice looking. Well, I've never said a spider had some nice legs, but yeah, she does. Spider's got some nice legs. The markings is really cool.
um, yeah, she's my first tarantula that I got. Now I have um, give me a second, two, four, six, yeah, six tarantulas here.
Oh my goodness.
I have them in my little studio. she's the biggest one. The other ones are just little tiny spiderlings for now. I don't know what got into me when getting tarantulas. I know that as a kid, I already was fascinated by tarantulas. I was always like, I was 5 years old and I was bugging my parents, I want a tarantula, I want a tarantula. And obviously I didn't get one, and I get why. Um,
Yeah.
but one day, my wife and I were on reptile. Um, yeah, I don't know how to say it. And so when people go into this big mall and there are
Yeah.
all these stands where they show reptiles and all, and also sell them, and
Kind of like
the
a pet
original,
store or a place to buy pets.
yes, but not really a pet store. And there's all these different private people who sell.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know the English word.
I can visualize
Um,
what you're talking about.
okay, great. And the original thought was I wanted to get a snake.
Yeah. I like snakes
Um,
too.
I I found this a species that only eats eggs because I wanted to feed mice. Me being a vegetarian, I didn't want to throw live mice into an enclosure for a snake to eat them.
Yeah.
This was just something that I can't do. I still don't have a snake for the exact reason. And my wife and I, the way we are, we didn't get out with a snake, but we got lemmings and Sally.
Lemmings. I
So
didn't know that.
yeah, so these like uh, little mice kindly creatures. They only lived 2 years, and that's their life expectancy, like with many pets in that range. But it was just a fun
Wow.
thing, and we were very spontaneous there, and we saw them, and we were like, God, before a snake eats them, come on, let's take two of them. And then I saw the spider, and I was like, okay, come on, let's get the spider. And that's how this all started, you know.
That's funny.
And the other pet that you can see in her kind of cave of blankets,
Oh yeah.
that's Bailey. She was a Romanian street dog that got to Germany through all these programs.
Mm-hmm.
And originally she was with someone else here in Germany, and at this place where my wife used to work. They worked together, and the previous owner didn't have the time anymore to care for Bailey. And she knew back then my wife and I weren't living together, but we had this plan. In that time, we're going to live together, and we want to get a dog. That was our plan. I was always like, no, we're not going to get a dog from a shelter. A dog from a shelter brings problems.
Yeah.
And then this coworker of my wife was like, "Oh, I can't keep Bailey anymore. I can't keep care of her anymore. You want a dog? Don't you want to get Bailey?"
So it was a dog you knew, so
And
it's hard to say no to, huh?
I never met Bailey before. My wife just showed me a picture of Bailey and was like, "Isn't that a cute dog?" And I fell head over heels in love with that dog.
Oh my gosh.
And then my wife was like, "Yeah, we can get her. When we move together, we can get her." And I was like, "Yes, do it. Let's do it. I don't care if she brings any problems." She isn't the easiest dog, to be honest,
Yeah.
but so am I. I'm not the easiest person. And as you can see in this picture, that's actually her laying in our bed. So she got from the streets to being a little princess that sleeps in the bed, has a blanket over her head, and just
Yeah.
dozes away.
That's awesome, man. I love it. As you know, all of our pets are some type of adoption or rescue or something like that. They just show up, or well, we've got a couple on purpose, I guess. But yeah, some just giving them good homes and good lives. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Um, for me, okay, we have this kind of millennial cliche already. I've read that a few times on the internet, like couple getting married, no kids, but a dog.
But a dog, yeah, I've
And
seen it.
that's exactly me and my wife. And she is our little baby. We treat her like she's part of our family, you know.
Yeah, I
But
understand.
I feel good with it. My wife feels good with it. The dog feels very special with it.
Yeah, I can tell.
And yeah, that's just a big part of our life, you know.
Yeah, no, I get it, man. We're a very animal loving, pet having household here, and it pets is such a generic term. I mean, they're part of your family, you know, when you love them like that.
Yeah, exactly. Especially like these bigger pets like dogs or cats. I wouldn't say Sally or any other of the tarantulas is part of my family really because they sit in their enclosure. Um, I'm currently looking over and Sally is out, and I haven't seen her like 3 months because she was sitting in her burrow. So it's hard for me to have this really emotional connection to them. But
Yeah,
a dog
yeah, yeah,
that really wants your attention and really gets to you and cuddles up against you. It's not just a pet, it's part of the family, like you said.
yeah. And it's good for both of you, isn't it? It's my experience.
Oh, yeah.
I can tell I'm making the
Yeah.
dog happy. The dog's helping me be happy and not stress out about whatever. And you know, just that keeping that love vibe. You know.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Um, I get home from work, I'm stressed, and I open the door. Bailey comes running to the door, tail wagging, and she's. I'm always saying she's screaming. It's a mix between these high pitched noises and barking, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
And it sounds super crazy when she does this, but I know she's excited to see me, and the stress from the works just go away,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
And I cuddle the dog, and I'm happy. So it's not just good for her; it's good for us both.
yeah.
Like you said, that's pets are magical.
They are. Yeah. And I mean, you could come home and just be an asshole, but if you pay attention to your animals, sometimes they'll remind you if you're forgetting. You know, if you pay attention
Yeah.
to their behavior, like why are they ignoring me? Like, okay, I have been kind of stomping around. You know, I have been kind of in a mood. You know,
Oh yeah.
and even if you can't change your
Absolutely.
mind yourself, just go pet your dog, and that'll help you get in the right direction. You know.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Um, I'm. I can get very upset when I talk on the phone to other people about things that stress me out, you know.
Hmm.
And without realizing, I sometimes get a bit louder then. And I always see in Bailey's reaction, okay, I need to calm myself. Even before I actually feel what I'm doing, I see, okay, Bailey is looking at me in this way, like, oh God, you're screaming again. And I just realized, okay, I need to calm down. I sit on the couch, I pet the dog, and I calm down. And it's so much easier for me to process these things without getting this upset because of this dog.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's like they're unconditional friends, you know, true friends.
Oh
Like
yeah,
it just like all they want to do is just to get along and chill together and be happy. That's all they want to do.
Yeah,
And
that's
cats
true.
sometimes too, but sometimes they have different ideas. But I love cats too, though. Uh, but yeah, they like you said,
I
cats
love
and
cats.
dogs are special like that.
Yeah, I love cats. Cats don't love me.
Oh,
It's it's a whole thing. I don't know um, what I'm doing wrong. Everybody says tells me you're doing something wrong with cats. I don't know. I can see it. I don't know what's happening, but basically, let's say 70% of all cats that I petted bit me at one point.
oh wow,
Because I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but at one point they're annoyed, they bite me and they leave, and I'm like, okay, what's been happening? What's been going on now?
that's funny. I wonder if,
Yeah, but
what's up with that. Like what? Why? That's weird. Because obviously I know
I
you're
have,
nice. You're nice to them. You're not mean to them.
yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Is if it's my smell or something like that. Um, but it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But it's also positive on the other side because I had dogs come to me, dogs that I don't know, and I pet that dog, and then the owner comes after, and they're like shocked, and oh my god, he doesn't like men. He always every time he sees a man, he leaves or he barks at them, and I'm like, no, he loves me.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's fine with me. So basically, it's my scent. I don't know that draws dogs to me and
Yeah.
make cats bite and run. I don't know.
I don't know either. It's funny though that even after trying, you can't get cats to like you.
Yeah. Um,
Essentially.
even even cats I know for longer, like the grandma of my wife has this cat, and it was also a rescue cat, not from a shelter or something, but when she was like a really, really small kitten, way too young to be detached from the
Mm-hmm.
mother,
Yeah.
um, we found her on the street,
Oh.
just in the middle of the street, and there was no cat, no mother, nothing around. She was just there. And we took her in, we took her to the vet, and the vet told us if we hadn't brought her in, she would have died like 2 days later.
Oh wow.
Um, but we were able to save her, and she's a bit crazy. She's a traumatized cat. She's a bit crazy. But I know her now for 13 years or so, and still she actually comes to me. She jumps on my lap. I start to pet her, and like a minute in or so, she's like, nope, and leaves, or bites and leaves. And yeah,
Maybe you're just not petting them right. Has anyone
that's
showed you how to
actually
pet a cat?
that's actually something a lot of people told me, and they're like, look, you have to pet them like that. And I'm like, I'm doing that. I'm doing exactly what you showed me. I just, I guess people who see it from the outside see what I'm doing wrong, but I don't see it.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
And I'm just shooting the shit with you. I've never seen you pet a cat, so I wouldn't know. But you know, it's funny.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. I've always liked dogs and cats, and my wife once had a tarantula, and I once had a. Well, I mean, we're in the same house, but I had a snake, a ball python, and
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, it was really cool pet. I eventually uh, let a young lady take him to give him a good home when we had to move. Uh,
Yeah.
but it was pretty cool, like to see even a snake be. You could tell like the intelligence in it, you know. Um,
Oh, yeah,
yeah, it's really neat.
absolutely. And especially, I think with pythons, when I have it in mind correctly, they can get pretty big,
Yeah. No,
right?
mine didn't, but I think they can, can't they?
Okay.
I wasn't
Um,
very educated in
and
it, honestly. I just took care of it when for a time.
yeah, Um, but it still shows that you care,
Yeah, yeah, I like all
you know.
animals. Yeah.
But I'm just wondering right now, when you said that your pets came from rescue as well,
Mm-hmm.
was it just like they showed up on your front porch, or did you go to a shelter, or I'm just curious right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they have different stories. So right now, we have two dogs. Uh, one, the one we've had longest is Layla, a black pit bull, and we got
Yeah.
her when she was a puppy, just like I don't know how many weeks old, like teeny little thing. Um, whoever had her said where they lived, they said they couldn't keep her. So instead of going to the pound, uh, we took her. Someone Bria knew, my wife,
Yeah.
and so we've raised her since a puppy. She's literally like a daughter. Like we're talking about how family feels. Like we've raised her for 13 years. Um,
Yeah.
and the other one, Nomad, is what is he, a red tick coonhound, I think. He's kind of a bigger
Hmm.
dog. And my wife was leaving work one day, and there was a thunderstorm outside, and this dog, Nomad, shows up out of nowhere, jumps in her car, and that's how we got him. And she says to this day he just jumped right in, but always ask her who opened the door. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
but it's okay. I mean, he's become part of the family. He's a very what do you call it? Uh, extra care needed kind of dog. Special
Okay.
special needs kind of. I don't know. He's something else, but he's a good dog though. He's a good dog. So that's where he came from, and we have a cat named Cornbread that we got when we lived out in the country, and recently my 6-year-old son said, "Why is she named Cornbread?" And we said,
Yeah.
"Well, yeah." So, well, because when she showed up, she walked out of a cornfield and into our lives. She just appeared out of the cornfield, a little kitten, and he said, "Okay, that explains the corn part, but what about the bread part?" So I just had to tell him it's just using a word that has corn in it. So
Yeah.
she came out of the cornfield, and who else? Let's see. I'm looking around as if to see. Riley, she's a cat that belonged to a friend before we had her. So we gave her a new
Yeah.
home. And then we have two more that were more recent. And one is Sean. We adopted him from the local animal shelter. I let Gray, my son, go pick out a cat. We took him to pick out a cat, and that's his cat. And one more we have that's a young cat as well is named Winter. And the real funny thing about this, since we're talking about how special animals are, or our pet family members,
Yeah.
she showed up. No one knows how she got here. We come home as a family, my wife and son walk in, and this little kitten is inside the house, sitting in a dog food bowl, trying to chomp down this dog food, and it's barely big enough to make it happen. I don't even know how it got up in the dog food bowl.
Yeah.
And we don't know where this thing came from. We have a dog door, so it's, an animal could get in. But we have no idea anything about this kitten, where it came from. We never saw any more kittens anywhere else. But even our dogs, which would normally go off on a strange cat coming in, when we walked in the door, they were just standing there looking at her eating the food and then looking up at us like, "Are you seeing this? Like, what is this thing?" And just from
Yeah.
from day one, like, we've all got along just like she was part of the family. So we kept an eye out for flyers for missing cat or whatever, but didn't see anything, so we kept her. And the cool part was that she and I have some special connection, like right off the bat, where it's just amazing how she was like just a little cat friend I needed. It's hard to even explain, but I've never felt like that with a cat before. Is pretty cool. Like the level of friendship. Like she'd get up super early in the morning. No other animals would, but she would, to hang out with me
Yeah.
while I get ready for work. And clearly to get up to hang out with me. It's like, wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
follow me around the house and hang out before I leave for the day. Yeah, it's really weird. It just makes you wonder about the energy of beings and spirits or whatever you call it, whatever it all is. Like, when
Oh yeah.
when you meet people or even animals that you feel almost like you've known them before. It's fascinating. Even if it is just
Oh,
feelings,
absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
still fascinating.
Yeah, I really get when you have these spontaneous connections with people, animals, or who cares. Um, I get where the idea of reincarnation came from.
Yeah, for sure. Because I do
But because,
believe that energy still goes somewhere. So
yeah, definitely it's something. It's something that I can't explain. It's, yeah.
yeah, I agree. And uh, I would never try to explain anything anyway that I don't understand. You know,
Yeah, true.
I can only speak from my own experience, but you know, I don't have, I don't, I believe anything's possible, and if you can think of it, it probably exists, and that there's just too many unknowns for me to be so steadfast on any one way of this reality existing.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
it makes sense. Yeah. And by saying that anything basically is possible, I think it's called Murphy's Law. It's actually a physical law that says anything that can happen will happen.
Yeah. And if
It's,
time is not linear like we perceive it, then it's already happened
yeah,
or is happening
exactly. It's,
currently. Something like that. I'm not a physics professor, so don't quote me on that, all that stuff. But yeah,
oh God, I'm far from physics expert. I just remember it because of the movie Interstellar, because the daughter of the character is called Murphy after Murphy's Law. And that's just stuck in my head because of it. But I don't I don't get know what it's actually about or anything. I just know out of context that it says anything that can happen will happen
yeah, yeah,
or already has happened.
yeah. It's enough to blow your mind for sure.
Oh yeah, but just look out the window and there are so many mind-blowing things already going on that we don't see even if we try to look at it because it's way too small, it's way too big. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do, and I think that like that. Fine. I'm getting a little confused now on what we spoke of before I hit record and whatnot. But at some point we were talking about the magic that kind of weaves through life. That
Yeah.
organic and natural flow of life and energy, and seeing that magic thread in it is something that you and I share. Not that we always see magical things, but I mean we're open to that and receptive, and we see when coincidences, synchronicities, or whatever you want to call it, little things happen. Even they may look not great in one light, but they kind of urge you towards your down your path, we'll say, in a positive way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's
Um,
part of what it's all about.
Absolutely. It's, I mean, we had a few examples now. While we were talking for this interview, definitely, that showcased this, like the skull I found, like how Bailey got to us, because
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the way all of that happened, the way we met and we influenced each other to get out of our comfort zone, but see that it's great out of our comfort zone, and we can meet people more and get more in connection with other people and have these amazing connections and all. It's
Yeah.
all these little, magical moments that just happened at that time that got us to this point. And even if it's something really little and random, but it influenced us on a bigger level.
Yeah. And it can happen easily if you're just open to the thought of it. And I think the more you think about something, it adds energy to it, and you see it start to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I know it's a little sidetracked, but that's also something I try to do. I sometimes struggle, besides ADHD, I sometimes struggle with depression. And I have this app on my phone that helps me to track little moments throughout the day where I was like, yeah, that makes me happy.
Oh, cool.
And in the beginning, when I started to do this, it was like two things that I listed, or three things that I listed, because didn't have, I didn't wasn't open for those moments.
Right.
To see, I didn't see them clearly. But now that I'm doing this like 2 years now, every day, and at the end of the day, I reflect on the day and write these little things in this app that make me happy. I get like 8, 10 things that made me happy throughout the day. Because just like for this app, because I was writing it down, it was like,
Yeah.
yeah, see, there's way, way more going on.
So it helps to since you had it on your mind because you had the app, or someone might have a notebook or what. If got an action with it, it's not just a thought. You're taking it to action and making notes of it. Then
Yeah,
it reinforces that like staying on that groove of seeing the miracles, seeing the magic.
exactly.
That's so cool.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, it makes you wonder, does it just get you looking for it because you're thinking of it and you see it because you look for it, or because you're thinking it and your energy is there, you're affecting that to come into your reality, drawing it to you, or creating it. It's fascinating, and I don't know the answer. It doesn't really matter. I just know that I like it. I like focusing on something and seeing a positive outcome from it based upon my intentions.
Oh yeah. Um, I absolutely get what you mean, and I can tell you which way it is. I can explain that in any way. I just know it is.
Exactly, it is. Just like I am, it is. And it's
Yeah,
just learning how to flow with that in life, learning how to be a part of it, be conductive with it, and not resist. And that's where I am in trying to handle life. That's how I try to manage things. And
yeah,
it's much more calmer and intuitive than trying to figure it all out, because I can't figure it all out. I'm not that smart to figure everything out, nor do I have the time to do so.
I think no human is smart enough to figure everything out.
Well, I guess I could
Especially
have done air quotes, but you know what I mean. Have it all figured out.
yeah,
But yeah, and the funny thing is, like, anyone you can talk to, like, they've only done this one time too that we remember. You know what I mean? Did you
Oh
hear
yeah.
that? That was my cat purring in the microphone.
No, that wasn't picked up by the phone.
Okay. You'll hear it on the recording. She jumped up on my mic. Yeah, that's Winter. This is Winter, the one I said that hangs out with me. She jumped up here in the loft, and she's hanging out with me now. Yeah, I was talking about you. Yep.
Winter was the little one that just showed up.
Yeah, the one that showed up in the dog
Okay.
food bowl, and the dogs were
Yeah.
looking at us like, what the fuck? Mom, Dad, what is this thing? Yeah.
I mean, if there was a cat that was eating out of my refrigerator, I would be like, oh God, what's going on now as well? So I get
Yeah.
the dog, kind of.
That's funny. Yeah. Man, we've been going over an hour already. It doesn't even feel like it. I feel like I've just been hanging out and talking with you.
Oh yeah, I see it right now.
What?
And
Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah,
Nope, you were going to say something.
I wanted to say I feel the same way. It was just like hanging out. I didn't realize it was already so much time that we talked.
Yeah. I do have something scheduled today, so I don't want to go real far over. I'm not freaking out about it, but I do want to, I guess, start wrapping it up. There was a couple more pictures on your that you shared with me. Did you want to mention those?
Yeah, I can. Just let me go through the pictures that we
I
haven't
shouldn't
talked
have mentioned
about.
it. It was already over, huh?
I think the only picture that I didn't mention was the one of the ruins.
Yeah, that's so cool.
That was actually from our vacation in Ireland, and that picture, I have the song "Ruins" on my album 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And that those ruins are the inspiration for the song, basically.
That's awesome.
And for me, that's my point of getting inspiration. I see something and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I could make that a sound.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we didn't even get into talking about like making sound, or you didn't even share your story. You're gonna have to come back on for part 2.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, like I mean, we knew you'd come back, but I feel like you should come back sooner than later when we, find a convenient time for us to share your own story. Because we didn't mean to, but we ended up talking more about our relationship and life in general, which was great. I loved every minute of it. But I'd love to have you on soon again to share your personal journey, Marcel, if you would like.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love it.
Well, tell everyone in the meantime how they can find you, how they can hear you, hear your sounds. Where can they find you online?
So yeah, basically on all streaming services where you can find my albums, it's Noctem Vulpes. The only thing where it's different is on Instagram. There, my handle is unnecessary music.
And I'll put links in the caption. And I apologize if to Marcel or to the listeners at the recording if my voice has gone in and out or volume wise. I've been so comfortable with Marcel that I kind of forgot I was doing a podcast, and I'd start turning away from the mic, and so yeah, that's how comfortable and natural I was with you. I forgot where I was, Marcel. So I hope the audio quality is okay. I know it is on your end because you're going direct, you're straight in, and it sounds good. But
Sounds great.
yeah, it's been so
I
good.
never had an issue with the sound quality from your part, so I think it's
Okay.
going to be okay.
Cool, awesome. Man, I'm so glad that we had time to do this together today, and I got to talk to you and more and record this for us both. Like, this is just a cool thing for you and I particularly to be
absolutely.
able to do. And I think that a lot of things we talk about would be relatable to others, and hopefully encourage people to kind of just put yourself out there a little bit And I mean, if you want to, you don't have to, but if you're curious, if you kind of are looking for, if you would like to know more about making some noise or sounds or how other people do it, just if you hear something you like, say so, and you never know what kind of conversation can come from it, and what kind of people you can meet. I mean, that's the big takeaway for me from having you on and showcasing our connection.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like you said, I really, really hope that people will get out there a bit more, like other musicians, and just connect, because this connection, it's amazing.
Yeah, it is, and you mentioned it before how how it is to see one of your fellow musicians or buddies online when they decide to post a selfie or show themselves somehow on a profile pic or whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. When they show their face for
Yeah.
the first time, it's like, oh wow, that's so cool. Like it's like next level meeting them, someone you've already probably talked to, and it's cool, man. So
Yeah, exactly.
that was a fun thing to share with you. We did it kind of together a lot,
Yeah.
All right, my brother, I'm going to wrap it up, but before I hang up, is there anything you want to say? Would you like to share an encouraging word to the listeners?
I feel like all the encouraging words were said.
I agree. I'm trying to
If you
remember
want to make
some of the
music,
routines and questions I like to hit, but you're right. This whole episode was an encouraging word.
when you want to do music, make music, put yourself out there, get in touch with people, and everything will be great.
And if you're the creator of Dark Ambient hashtag on Instagram, let us know.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay, Marcel, I'll chat with you just a second. I'm going to wrap it up on the show. Structures, episode, what was it, Marcel, 6?
I think, I think so.
Yeah, 6. Thanks for tuning in with Thad and Marcel, and you'll hear from me with someone else probably next week. So, love you. Bye.